You're listening to a CNA podcast.
Welcome back to the Work It podcast. It's your hosts, Tiffany and Gerald. So recently, someone I know shared that she was in the middle of a high-stakes presentation when suddenly her mind went blank.
Okay.
Yeah, she couldn't remember what to say next, and for the next 1 minute, she actually stared at everyone. She eventually recovered, but she said the episode really scared her. And there was another friend who told me that she was suddenly hit with insomnia and it affected her productivity. So both of them later found out that they were actually going through menopause. And these are symptoms when the female body goes through a biological transition.
I'm wondering what went through your mind when you heard these stories?
Yeah, I think for me, to be honest, I was terrified when I heard these stories. Yeah, because at the point of time, I felt that I was nearing that age and I wanted to know what was going to happen to me. I didn't want to be caught off guard. But then the Googling brought me to another term that I didn't know until now, which is perimenopause.
Wow, what's that?
That is another stage before menopause starts.
So it's like pre.
Yes, perimenopause. So you see, you were asking me all these questions, right? Because I also didn't know all these questions. And I think that was really, really scary. And why it was scary is because no one around me speaks very openly about this subject. I saw my mom go through it when I was younger, and my family members would joke. They would say, "Oh, stay away from mom. She's going through menopause."
Okay.
I think now I've reached that stage where I realized that was actually a very bad joke. It wasn't a joke. Because I can imagine the fears and the frustration you would feel when you don't have control over your body.
I totally agree. Now that you said this, right, it really reminds me of all the other interactions I've had in the past relating to women of a certain age, and then people will say that she's like that one.
Yeah.
So I think, and when we think about them in their work then, how does that affect their work? And it's interesting because most women in the late 40s and 50s, that's where they climb the highest.
Yes, that's right.
So I'm wondering, like, this menopause or perimenopause, how does that affect their careers? I don't really hear these things being discussed in the workplaces.
Yeah.
I think we do need to have someone more experienced than us coming to talk to us about this issue. So I'm very happy that we have Judy Lee. She's a seasoned HR advisor and also the speaker and moderator for Singapore's very first Menopause Festival back in 2024. So I'm sure all of us, men and women, will learn something from this pod. And maybe for us men to also learn something more specific about menopause so that we can support our women at the workplaces better.
Yeah, welcome, Julie.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
So, Julie, I want to ask, what is it about this topic of menopause that makes you care so deeply about? Does it come from a personal experience?
Yes, I went through perimenopause without realizing I was going through perimenopause. Suddenly, you were jammed in your thoughts. You were speaking and then it just stopped there and you wonder, what was I saying just now? There were absent-mindedness. For instance, I clearly enter the kitchen to take something. But when I arrived at the kitchen and I started to think, what am I here for? What did I want to take? I forgot. And it's very frustrating. There was another symptom where there were mood swings. So my mood swings was really, really bad. The family members were very surprised and shocked that, why are you reacting this way, Mom? And it's not like you. You used to be able to laugh that way, but now you're like so angry and so reactive at the smallest comments when it's just a discussion.
How did you go from all these observations and behaviors, right? How did you eventually connect this to like perimenopause or menopause?
Oh, it took a while. And I would wake up with neck ache and headaches. And I get this really bad migraine headache when I'm in the cycle. And then I noticed that my cycle went haywire. Instead of 30 days, it became shorter and shorter. And then in 1 month, I would have 2. And I'll be so tired and I couldn't sleep. I sought treatment for the vertigo. And then with medication, it controlled. But the insomnia did not go away. The headache, I just treated just the symptoms. And there were hot flashes as well. So there were days where I just feel so hot in a very cold aircon and I'll take off my jacket and I'll still be sweating.
I've heard of people with inflamed joints. It's so bad that when they wake up in the morning, they can't get out of bed.
Wow.
Yeah. It's almost like someone's like pressing against them and it hurts.
So I went back to the GP again and again. And then the GP one day asked me, okay, so have your womb check? How's your cycle? Those questions start coming about. And my doctor is a male. Yeah, sometimes female doctors also miss the point.
Miss it, right? Yeah, they might miss it.
Correct.
Because they're only treating the symptoms.
Exactly. He then asked me, okay, wait, your age.
How old were you then at that point of time?
That time I was 47.
Okay, because
Yeah.
perimenopause can start almost as early as 35.
Yes. So my symptoms of insomnia started when I hit 35.
Okay.
But it wasn't as bad.
You
It's
just
only
probably peg it
when-
down to stress or something.
Yeah. And I always confused it with stress because the symptoms are very similar to stress.
Yeah, sounds
and
like
I
it.
had a very, very demanding job. So I just had that confusion.
Obviously, your family members noticed, and you could be your real self. They would just pick up after you. But at work, how did that show up? Was it a very difficult period for you as well?
So at work, it's the absent-mindedness that was a problem for me.
Did you have to hide? Like the fact that, okay, no, I've got it.
No, actually, they all thought I was stressed.
Okay.
And I didn't talk about it because I didn't know.
Yes.
It was much later when I discovered that I was going through perimenopause. And that's where I told my female colleagues.
Okay.
And I say, so at any point in time, if you see me jammed up, right, please cue me along. Yeah. So that was helpful. Yeah. And there were days in a month where I felt very tired. And then I would tell them it's the time of the month. If I react a certain way, please
be
forgive
patient,
me.
yeah.
Please be patient with me and just give me a sign. And then I will backtrack and I will recompose myself. Yeah. So it was only with the female employees. I couldn't tell the male employees. I couldn't tell my boss. And I work with a lot of male stakeholders as well. And I didn't feel comfortable to share it because when you are holding a very high position and you show your vulnerability at a time, my sense was it will affect your performance. So all those things were playing in my mind and I didn't want to lose control. You want to still be able to do a good job, but at the same time, I felt that it was very hard.
You mentioned that all these thoughts that were going through your head of not wanting to disclose because you are afraid that it will affect how people view you at the workplace.
Yes. And also at the same time, it's something so personal.
Yes, of
Right.
course.
And the way we were brought up when you need to
everything was a bit
change
hush-hush,
your pad
right?
and all that.
Yes.
It's like you have to hide, you don't tell. You'll be so embarrassed if your male classmates know about this because that was how we were taught. Therefore, similarly, when your body is going through that change, we just don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't.
The impact of that silence in the workplace also shows up because as somebody in your position at the point of time, you were very high powered. When even if for you yourself, you didn't feel comfortable enough to speak up. So I can imagine how much more difficult it is for people in more junior positions to just ask, I'm not feeling very well today. Can I take some time off?
Yes.
Or can I, I just need to go and lie down? Because I think it's a bit different from just taking sick leave, I feel. Because with sick leave, you kind of know, okay, I've caught the cold. Maybe it's 3 days totally out. Maybe then I work from home. But I think when it comes to perimenopause or menopause, there almost feels like there is no end date in sight. You don't know when it really ends.
No, it doesn't.
So if today you feel like I can't get out of bed, and then after a few days you're like, oh, I'm fine. And then after that, another 2 days, I really can't anymore. After a while, you will start wondering, are you starting to become a very difficult team player?
Correct.
Were these things, did these
those
things cross
things
your
were
mind?
going through my mind as well. Then you start to think, can you still even perform in this job? And all of us are very fearful of losing our jobs, right? So once I transited out of that company, the place where I was still working at, where I discovered I was going through perimenopause, and then I started a job in the next company, I decided to be a little bit more open because I felt that if I don't, I'm not doing myself any justice. So I disclosed to my key members because I hired them, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested to know, how did you have that conversation?
I decided to just say that, look, guys, I'm going through this where there are changes in the body and these are the symptoms. And then some of the male, they are very understanding. They say, it's okay, Julie. We saw our moms go through it. Yeah. And then it's good that you tell us as well. And I think that's good. So the female employees, my own subordinates, they know. Then among the female employees, I know some of their age group. So I would just be able to speak, right? I know your age, so it's probably one of the symptoms. They say, And then we'd be more open to talk about it. For male employees, a handful would know. Yeah, those that I'm more comfortable with, because we all don't like to be judged, right? Certain colleagues are more tolerant and accepting. And then there are some where you just don't want to say anything more. Yeah, because whatever you say could be used against you. So I think there needs to be a bit more cautious in that, especially when you're in the leadership team. Now, today, I have a very different perspective, because I'm an advocate now. So this was all in the past, how I was thinking. But today is a different thing, because there's a lot of emphasis about mental wellness these days. And when a woman goes through this perimenopause or menopause stage, those symptoms, even to the day that you menopause, those symptoms can actually carry on
I see.
until 60 plus.
So instead of framing it as like just a menopause or perimenopause thing, now that we are having conversations about mental wellness in the workplace,
Correct.
put that under
I would frame it
Okay.
totally in that category,
Okay.
because it affects a lot of your mental wellness as well. The insomnia, it's the mental space. Sometimes you just feel that you don't have enough mental space to absorb anymore. I was at one point a bit hard of hearing as well. I'm not hearing the right things, so I would say that be patient with me if I ask you again and again. I'm just trying to process. Yeah. And another way of how I would manage it is I would say, okay, I am in that zone at the moment. Give me a bit of time to get out of it. When I know I will not be able to go into a heavy discussion, I would say, this is not the right time. Okay. Yeah. Can we schedule another time?
Another time, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or if we really need to, because you don't have time, then it's about whiteboarding and with the visuals and the words and taking a snapshot of that photo, it helps me.
Oh, okay.
So I start to look at ways to help myself remember
I see.
and manage the situation. And I think that a lot of women needs to be educated about these things so that they can be empowered to pick the remedy that's right for them.
Yeah.
And there will be some who just resist. I was one of those that embraced this much later.
Okay.
It's all about education.
Yeah.
And I think the more we talk about it, the better,
Yeah, for
right? So
sure.
that women can continue to remain in the workforce. So in Singapore, we don't have a research that shows how many women actually dropped out of the workforce due to perimenopause or menopause symptoms. But in the UK, there were studies around it. And I think in Australia, they have some data as well. So there is actually an economical impact.
Yes.
People don't see it that way. So when women fell out of the workforce, imagine this, women are the biggest spenders in retail.
I will
right?
not refute
right?
that.
In retail, we spend more than men. So imagine when women fall out of the workforce, their income drop, your retail spending drops, it has an economy impact.
Yeah.
That's one piece. Another one is your social security. So in Singapore, it's the CPF. Your contributions to the CPF drops as well. There's also the social aspect when women do not work, and work gives people dignity
Meaning, purpose.
and purpose. Then there will be other social issues that could surface as well.
So, Julie, you're in a HR perspective.
Yes.
If today you had to propose some policies or some services for companies to take note of to help their female employees going through this same situation, what might you suggest?
So the mental wellness piece is important because those are the mechanisms that can help them cope. Right? And manage their emotions, manage how they feel, and then at the same time, manage how they interact with other people and become more self-aware, right? And not be afraid to speak up.
Okay.
Right, so that's one. And then number two, I think it's about the flexibility. So flexible work arrangement is the other piece that could help women. So sometimes women who may not be aware or who choose other forms of treatments, they need to sleep in a little bit more. There were some days where, because of insomnia, you can't sleep and you needed to sleep in just a little longer to function. So having the ability to work from home helps.
Okay.
Or sometimes having the ability to take a short nap in between. And if the workplace has sleeping pods, this helps. But I know not a lot of companies have sleeping pods.
Yeah. Or space to have that.
Or even space to have their quiet moments. Sometimes they just need to go to a quiet room and just sit down and just meditate. So meditation is the other one that helps me through. Just 10 minutes before I go into the next meeting.
Okay.
And then number 3 is more education, more awareness for everyone, not just the male, but for women as well, the younger women. Sometimes the younger women may be the one saying that, oh, she's at the age, they behave this way. You know what? The next time when we hire replacement, don't hire women at that age.
Yeah.
So that become a
it's a
discrimination
stereotype.
already.
Yeah,
It's
correct.
because of that stereotype. So sometimes people, not just men, not just women, they forget that there are important women in their lives. And then if you're a young woman, you will go through this too.
Yeah.
You know, so it's about that education. And I think the more we talk about it, the more people are aware, the more tolerant we can be as a society, and it then filters into the workplace as well.
Yeah. I remember an advice that someone also gave is that if your company offers uniforms, like you have to wear uniforms, when you're going through that stage, you could possibly ask for a different color uniform. Because as she mentioned, the hot flushes will obviously make you sweat a little bit more. And so obviously the sweat patches can be a bit uncomfortable. I think these sort of gestures go
Helps.
a very long way.
Yes, it does.
For an employee to feel actually my company has my best interest at heart. If I am not in a position of leadership and I have to speak to my supervisor about this transition that my body is going through, how can I have this conversation without worrying, without being afraid that this will be taken wrongly, and without being uncomfortable about having this conversation? What would be your advice?
That's a very good question. They can start with understanding what the body is going through. When you approach it from the medical and scientific point of view, and you need to show data, that's important because you are trying to prove the point. And then at the same time, the employee should ask for support, but give the assurance that with the support given, nothing will drop. I think that's the important part. And then you need to be able to describe how you can be supported and what you would do in return, right? Because business is harsh, isn't it?
Yeah.
And business will always expect you to give your output because that's what business pays you to do, to work. Know yourself, what you can do and what you can't do, and manage expectations. That's very important. If you know that this company is operating at this speed, and if let's say you are already on hormone management therapy and you are still not able to keep up, then perhaps it's about discovering yourself and say, is this the right environment for me? And if you want to still be in the environment, then is there another role that is less demanding at that kind of pace?
I see.
So it's a little bit of that so that you don't fall out of the workforce, but you still have work
I understand.
and you can still be employed,
Yes.
but you could have a different role
Yeah.
if it comes to that. And you got to be true to yourself. And I can understand why some women decided that, you know what, I'm too tired. I hear some women say, I don't think I want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And then you have the rest of the people say, no, but you're so good at this. You cannot retire. Just stay on in it. And I've heard those stories. But ultimately, it's about, as a woman, you need to take care of yourself first. Then you can take care of other people.
Yeah.
That first.
Yeah.
And you got to be true to yourself. If you still want to stay at this level, then is there something else that you could do to manage yourself and your symptoms? Because ultimately, we are more in control of ourselves. We are not in control of the situation around us.
I think for me, as a male person listening in, I realize how much I don't know. I'm trying to map the experiences of women I've met. I'm also hearing that it's not so easy to diagnose. It's not consistent. The symptoms are not consistent for every person. If today I encounter a colleague with challenges like this, right, with no clear explanation whether it's perimenopause, menopause or not, we need to first maybe start from a place of empathy. If you see someone really struggling, right, don't assume that, okay, it's menopause for sure, but maybe just ask like, is everything okay?
Yeah.
I think opening up that space to allow a female colleague, right, to maybe articulate what's on her heart and in her life, right? Maybe she's also not sure what's going on, and then she just needed someone to just like, hang on, stop for a while, and then what's going on? I think that's the main thing.
Yeah.
And then maybe encourage them to seek medical help, go and find out a little bit more, go and investigate and shut down their observation.
Correct. When you have that support circle, it's really very helpful. Let the bosses know, let your sponsors know, and let your sponsors be a supportive person to be able to help you through. But if with therapy and you are still struggling, then maybe it's about taking a step back, maybe it's not the right season. Maybe it's about just pause
Yeah.
and then you can come back again and see whether you could still chong.
It is a season, and
Yes.
eventually you will come back again. I think it's just in this season, what can we do? For me,
Yes.
what I've learned is that it's about finding your support network within the company, whether you are already in a leadership position or a middle manager or a junior position.
Yes.
Definitely around you there is a group of, whether is it male or females, who can be in that support network. So it can be something simple like if you have to go for a presentation, they know that there is a possibility that you might have this brain fog moment, that they can stand up and say, okay, maybe just to add on to that, or they can offer to take on a bit more for you
Yes.
in this season,
That's
because
right.
you never know when is your turn to take more for them
Exactly.
in their own season.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you so much for
Thank
sharing
you.
not
Most
just your
welcome.
personal experience, but also advice. I think a lot of our listeners will take a lot from this podcast. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Hi, it's our Ask Me Anything segment where we take a work-related question that you have or something that people have been talking about in the office, and we answer that for you. Today's question was sent in by our listener, Shana. Here's what she wrote. A colleague I really respected left recently, and for some reason, it hit me harder than I thought it would. Maybe because it was so quiet. The company didn't host a farewell, and we only found out that she was leaving on the week itself. Is it normal to feel this way? And should I be making the effort to stay in touch or just take it as part of working life? Okay, sounds like this person is going through like a breakup.
Like a grieving, almost like a mini grieving process.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
person maybe finds it a bit hard to let go. It could be many reasons. Maybe this person feels that they already had a very personal relationship with the person who's leaving. I was working in a team before where when people leave, the farewells were so silent.
What's a silent farewell?
So they will send out email and then they would just
okay.
say, thanks guys for everything. And then after that, there was no farewell meal or farewell cards or whatever. But then again, some people will say, why do you need? So let's talk about that, okay?
Yeah.
So why does it sometimes feel like a mini grieving process when someone leaves?
When I'm hearing this question from Shana, right, it really sounds like this person is special to her.
Okay.
It sounded like this person helped her and she has a special connection. That's why she also wants to stay in touch.
Okay.
So maybe losing that person from the workplace, it meant a lot to her. Maybe they have a lot of interdependent work together. Maybe they work very closely. Or just not seeing that person around. You kind of miss that person. Work is like, our work family is almost like a second family from home.
Yeah.
So it's pretty understandable.
Yeah.
And of course, if today the issue here, because she did also mention that it's quiet.
Yes.
So I was wondering, what does the quiet mean?
Yeah. Because it sounds like quiet is negative. Maybe Shana is feeling that this person has given so much to the company and there was not much fanfare when they left.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but if today you were to leave,
Yeah.
right, what kind of farewell would you want?
Oh, you don't worry about that. I will not exit stage left quietly.
So what does that mean? What will you do?
I will, of course, I'm not going to say like farewell or you. But what I'll do is I will say, oh, okay, I'll look around. Oh, if it's no one doing a farewell thing for me, then I'll organize one myself. Yeah, I know I'm quite shameless about this, but I'll just say, hey guys, I'm just going to like organize a lunch or post work drinks. Whoever is available, just come. And if you don't come, I will not take it personally. It's nice to have that extra connection, extra farewell kind of thing. And there's nothing wrong with organizing your own farewell, I feel.
So you're the kind of person who will say, guys, I got 2 more weeks left and my calendar's open.
I got 1 more month left.
Yeah.
So you block that in your calendar.
Yes, you can date me or ask me out for lunch.
Yes.
I'm open to blanjas and treats.
Yeah, so that's a good point. I don't think it needs to be like a one big team thing. It can be broken up into smaller different farewells, and I don't mind because I like that quality time that sometimes you can get out of one-on-one or 2 or 3 people. Yeah.
For me, I'm the opposite of you.
Oh.
I would prefer a quiet farewell.
Oh, okay. Tell me about how
Yeah.
in your mind, what does a quiet farewell look like?
It means that work as though I'm not leaving until the last day.
Then you're the one who turn off the lights and walk out by yourself.
Disappear
Why?
into thin air.
Why would you do that?
Maybe for me, I just find it very hard to say goodbye.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's like I'm afraid of becoming emotional.
Okay.
So that's why it's like better not to say goodbye
Okay.
to people. And of course, sometimes people do ask you questions like, where are you going to go
Yeah.
next? What are you going to do? So then you don't want to be caught in that kind of situation. So then I think sometimes it's better to just disappear
Okay.
into thin air.
Will you make it very clear to your colleagues, don't do that to me?
I think I won't tell them that, all right? But I would also just go for lunches with some of them. I would make effort to reach out to those that I want to reach out to. And then on the last day, if there doesn't matter, right? I just hand in my laptop and I'll go.
Yeah.
Yes, but sending that email to say goodbye, it's important.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
so-
keep in touch, your contact details and
Yes,
everything.
personal contact details.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
So I believe Shana was also asking, like, should she keep in touch with this person?
Yes.
Yeah, the answer is yes, for sure. For sure, keep in touch with that person. Maybe your paths will cross again in future.
Yeah.
So it's okay to exchange the personal number, personal email, and meet up outside of work.
Yeah. So I think, Shana, don't see it as if this person doesn't get the cake, the dinner, the full works and the Olang Sai songs. Don't see it as this person didn't leave an impact in the company. That person could be like Gerald. He just doesn't want to have to deal with an emotional farewell. So it's perfectly fine. Okay? If, like Shanna, you have a work-related question, do send it to us. We are at cnapodcasts@mediacorp.com.sg. We're also on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Me Listen. The team behind the Work It podcast is Ho Pei Ning, Junaini Johari, Joanne Chan, Saya Win, Alison Jenner, and Shaza Dalila. Video by Hanida Amin.
I'm Gerald.
And I'm Tiffany. Goodbyes are hard, but try and have cake together with it.